So if at the end of your time in this role, what will be you'll say, I succeeded or failed? What's your true north?
Well, I think you would see a Navy that's got a ship count that's climbing commensurate with a 4-year assignment, where we're on pace with the delivery, meeting the contractual delivery dates and not over by 1 or 2 years as we currently experience. You'd see the gaps at sea on our ships have gone to zero. You see the munition floor requirements that we have completely met. So you can't win a war without munitions. You'd see the backlog of supply parts that we use typically as a bill payer frequently at the end of year, re-zeroed out so the lockers on board our ships are filled with the repair parts they need.
Welcome back to Right View Nation, where we say what the media won't and expose what the swamp wants to hide. If you're tired of the lies, the corruption, and the endless incompetence in DC, then hit that subscribe button, like this video, comment below with your thoughts, and most importantly, share this with every proud patriot you know. United States. Folks, I just watched a hearing that should outrage every red-blooded American. Senator Rick Scott brought the heat, and finally, someone in Washington is talking about the one thing the Pentagon elite and defense contractors refuse to address: accountability.
Thank you, Senator Hirono. Senator Scott.
Sure. Thank you, Chairman. Admiral, you got the right background. You're going to do an outstanding job. And I want to thank you for your years of service, and I want to thank your family for their sacrifice and their commitment to you. I think you're going to be doing an outstanding job. You are doing a fixer-upper. You got a lot of work to do. As a enlisted guy that joined after high school, I hope you remember all those young men and women that come right out of high school and have real core beliefs in our military and the opportunity they have, and hope you'll treat them with respect and help them give the opportunities that I had when I was in the Navy.
Yes, sir.
So I've been up here 6.5 years. The federal government, in my opinion, has had unbelievable lack of accountability. I'll just give you one at the Navy. The new destroyer, the DDG-125, was commissioned in October 2023, and yet it can't be deployed until at least 2028 because it has a radar that needs to be tested. It didn't seem to make much sense. So why, do you have any idea why the Navy would build a ship and not test the radar on the ship before commissioning it?
Senator, I share your frustration with that trend. I've seen it far too often. We're in the shipyard for years. We come out and immediately have to go across the pier and get into a modernization period to actually go get modernized before I actually deliver. I want to work very closely, if I'm confirmed, with our program offices on fixing that. The integration of all the systems, the timely delivery of all that, and the turnkey ability for that ship, once it's ready to be handed over to me, needs to tighten up. And if I'm confirmed, I'll work hard to try to assuage the problem that you've just described with the Lucas.
So do you think that that you will have the authority to hold people accountable, both the people in the military, the civilian workforce, and our suppliers? Because it seems like it's all three. We haven't held our military leaders accountable, the people that work, the civilians, or these suppliers. Give me a break. If I'm a business guy, if this still happened to me, somebody would not be there. I'd say, you're really nice, but you're not going to work here.
Senators, you and I discussed in our office call, the holding of military program managers accountable, I've struggled with in my career. We have a very clear mechanism for operational commanders. It's not so clear with program managers. These are complex programs, multi-billion-dollar programs. I know the Secretary of the Navy and I have discussed better ways to actually ensure outcomes are happening in our programs and accountability and measuring the performance of people better that do that type of work. On the industry side, it goes to my opening a bit about sole source. When I find myself in monopolistic type of environments, the contracting strategy that I can get to utilize to do any type of accountability and incentives is challenging, but it's not insurmountable, and I do think we need to improve there, sir.
Yeah. Well, in business, my goal was don't deal with monopolists. I remember somebody told me I had to do business with them. I said, well, if I do, I will, but I figured out how not to do business with them. And so I saw them about 6 months later, and he told his wife he's why we didn't make our numbers last quarter, because we moved so much business. So, so if at the end of your time in this role, what will be you'll say, I succeeded or failed? What's your true north?
Well, I think you would see a Navy that's got a ship count that's climbing commensurate with a 4-year assignment, where we're on pace with the delivery, meeting the contractual delivery dates and not over by 1 or 2 years as we currently experience. You'd see the gaps at sea on our ships have gone to zero. You see the munition floor requirements that we have completely met. So you can't win a war without munitions. You'd see the backlog of supply parts that we use typically as a bill payer frequently at the end of year, re-zeroed out so the lockers on board our ships are filled with the repair parts they need, and that the world-class training that our sailors deserve is just firing on all cylinders. So if I can accomplish those things at the end of this assignment, if I'm confirmed, I'd be pretty happy.
You're going to do a great job. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
We would be exceedingly happy. Senator Kane.
Let's talk about this new Navy Admiral nominee. Look, he's got the background. He's got the experience. And you know what? He seems like a good man with his heart in the right place. But what he's walking into, it's not a job, it's a total disaster zone. A bureaucratic hellhole where excuses over budget weapons systems and endless delays are the norm. You've got a destroyer, a billion-dollar warship, commissioned in 2023, and it can't be deployed until 2028 because the radar wasn't tested? What? This isn't just mismanagement, folks. It's insanity. It's the same wasteful, bloated federal incompetence we've seen for decades, and it's putting our national security at risk. And don't even get me started on the lack of consequences. Senator Scott nailed it. If this were a business, people would be fired so fast their heads would spin. But in the federal government? Nope. Everyone keeps their job, gets their pension, and moves on to the next six-figure boondoggle. And let's be real clear. This isn't just about the military brass. Civilians, contractors, suppliers, they're all part of this unholy alliance of no accountability. You have monopolistic contractors who know they've got the government by the throat, and they take full advantage of it. What happened to the days when American ingenuity meant we led the world? Now we're commissioning ships that can't even sail. We're rewarding failure instead of results. We're giving blank checks to defense contractors who treat our Navy like a side hustle. And who pays the price? You, the taxpayer, the enlisted men and women, our national security. But here's the part that struck me hardest. Senator Scott asked, "What's your true north? What's the standard by which you'll say, I succeeded?" And the Admiral's answer was spot on. More ships, zero gaps at sea, fully stocked supply lockers, munitions ready, world-class training firing on all cylinders. That is what we should demand, and not 5 years from now, but yesterday. Because we can't afford to keep building weapons we can't use. We can't afford another Afghanistan. We can't afford to have our sailors heading into combat without the tools they need. And we sure as hell can't afford more bureaucratic excuses. We've got to stop tolerating incompetence in high places. We've got to stop handing out government contracts like Halloween candy. And we've got to start demanding real results for our military, because freedom isn't free. If you agree, like this video. If you're fed up with corruption and waste in our armed forces, comment below. Tell us your thoughts. And if you believe America deserves a strong, ready, and accountable military, share this video far and wide. We need to wake people up. And of course, subscribe to Right View Nation for more unapologetic truth from the front lines of American politics. This is Right View Nation, where we don't bow to the establishment. We fight for the truth. And we fight for you. United States, God bless you. God bless our troops. And God bless the United States of America.